Good evening, our listeners, and welcome to today's class. We appreciate coming around for our classes on this platform. Today, we will be looking at some questions that are related to statistics in mathematics. Questions like this are very much familiar in the pages of the questions of Waec, Jamb, and even in Jupeb. So number one says, if the mean of the numbers x1, x2 down to xn is k, find the mean of 3x1 plus 2, 3x2 plus 2, up to 3xn plus 2. So in this case, the variables in x are having a subscript of 1, 2, down to n, while a particular constant 3 is used as the coefficient of the variables x1 to n, and a particular constant 2 is added to each of the terms ranging from 3x1 down to 3xn. So we are going to solve this problem this way by first of all considering the mean of x1 down to xn, which we have been told is equals to k. So I'll come here and write solution for that number 1. And I will say, of course, we know that the mean x bar is given as summation. I is running from 1 to n of xi all over what? N. That is the formula for mean of random observations or random samples. But in this case, rather than giving us x bar, we have been told that the mean is k. So in place of x bar, I am going to use k. And it becomes that k equals summation. I is running from 1 to n of xi all over what? N. Because our x1, x2 goes down to what? To xn. So there are n observations. That's why this I runs from 1 to n of xi all over 1. When this subscript I here becomes 1, we have x1. When the subscript here becomes 2, we have x2. And when the subscript becomes n, we have xn. So this is the formula, of course, for mean that is equals to k. Therefore, we come down to this one. Then what I have here is, the numbers they gave us are, we have 3x1 plus 2, 3x2 plus 2, down to 3xn plus 2. So there are equally n observations here. The only difference here is, rather than having the individual x, we are having the coefficient 3 multiplying each of the x1 plus a constant 2 that is added to it. And of course, we know that to get the mean of any set of number is the addition of all the numbers all over total number of n. So if I equally want to find the mean of these observations, I am going to sum all the observations and divide by n, because there are n observations, which it can easily be seen by the subscript of this x here, xn. So I'll come there and I'll write, to find the mean of this, I'll have therefore mean equals, I'll come here, I'll write what? 3x1 plus what? 2 plus 3x2 plus what? 2 plus 3xn plus what? 2. I'll open and close. Then I will say all over what? N. What I did here is to sum all the observations and divide by the total number of the observations, which is what? N. Of course, these things are in bracket this way. These things are in bracket this way. Of course, we know that this is an additional sign, so we can decide now to remove this bracket, and what we are going to have becomes 3x1 plus what 2 plus 3 what x what 2 plus 2 plus 3xn plus what 2 all over what n. We are going to consider all the numbers with 3x, 3x, and 3x, in as much as these two are constants. And what I'm going to have becomes, here is what? 3x1 plus, here am I, 3 what? X what? 2 plus. Here am I have what? 3xn plus. Now I have 2 here, down to here. So by implication, there are n 2's equally. And when you have something of that kind, that you are summing a constant up to a number of times, what it means is that number of times multiplied by that constant. For instance, if you have, permit me to clean this top here. If you have what? 2 plus 2 plus 2. These are constant 2 added up to 3 times. This, of course, is 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is what? 6. And you have the answer to 6. Another approach on how to see whether we are going to arrive at this is to say, here is how many 2's that did you add? 1, 2, 3. You say this equals 3 times 2. And 3 times 2 is equals to 6. Equally, when we have what? 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. This is going to give us what? 8. How many 2's did we add up together? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is something like 4 times 2, which is going to give us 8. So because I am having 2 here, down to here, which implies that there are n 2's. I am going to write in this format now, which is going to be number of 2's that are there multiplied by 2. The number of 2's in this question is what? Is n. So I'm going to use n to multiply what? 2. So I have what? 2n all over. Here becomes what? My n. Now, if you look at 3x1, 3x2, down to 3xn, there is something common amongst these terms. And that thing that is common is what? Is 3. So I can factor 3 outside. And when I factor 3 outside, what I'm going to have becomes what? 3, I will open a bracket. What is remaining here is what? X1 plus. What is remaining here is what? X2 plus. Down to X what? N. Close the bracket. Plus what? 2n all over what? N. Of course, I have an n here. Then this can equally be written this way. Permit me to clean it up. This can equally be written this way. I have this 3 into what? X1 plus X2 plus what? X what? N all over n, which is here, plus I have 2n all over n, which is here. If you take the LCM of n and n, it becomes n, and of course it will bring you back to what we have at the numerator here. So what I'm going to do here is, what I have inside here is what? X1 plus X2 down to Xn. And of course, you know that the sum of all these things is using, like, you can write this in this way. 3, you open a bracket. And inside here becomes summation. I is running from 1 to what? To n of x what? I. Then this is now from here to here. You close the bracket plus what? 2n all over 2. Now, do remember that when we solved for k earlier, k equals summation I runs from 1 to n of xn all over n. Remember there is n here, so I equally have my n here. Which means the value of this is equals k. And what I have here and what I have here are the same thing. So I can easily now come over here, remove whatever thing here and replace with k. And the moment I do that, what I am going to have there becomes that my 3, in place of this, I'm going to write what? K plus what? Here there is 2. Sorry, this is n. Here there is n and here there is n. n will cancel n here, and I have what? 2. So this implies what? 3 what? K plus what? 2. Let us go and check whether we have such in the option they gave us. Option A says 9K plus 6. Option B say 3 into K plus 2. Option C say 3K plus 2. And what we have here is 3K plus 2. So the correct answer is C, which bears 3K plus 2. Thank you very much for listening as we went about providing the solution to this question number 1. We keep to encourage you that situation whereby the class is okay by you, that you like, share, and comment on our comment section. But where we do not understand, you are free to drop your question in the comment section, that once we come across, we might be able to respond to you. Thank you very much. And let us go over to question number 2 together. So in that case, permit me to clean this area. Question number 2 says, if two samples consisting of 7 and 3 observations have means x bar and y bar respectively, then the mean of the combined sample is. So first of all, we are going to come back here and look for the mean of observations that are 7 in number and equate it to x, and look for the mean of observations that are 3 in number and equate it to y, because that's what they're saying. They say if two samples consisting of 7 and 3 observations have means x bar and y bar respectively, then the mean of the combined sample is. Let us leave the second clause of the question and concentrate in the first. So I have 7 observations. So I'll come here and write solution. So I have 7 observations. 7 observations. The mean of that 7 observation is what? X bar. I have 3 observations. The mean of that 3 observation is y what? Y bar. And of course, we know that this my x bar is given as summation. I is running from 1. It is no longer going to be to n, because we have been told that n here in this context is 7. So we have what? 7 of what? X what? I all over. Rather than writing all over n, I am going to write all over what? 7. Because I'm now certain that the value of n is what? Is 7. So I can easily come here and say all over 1 and cross multiply. Why this 1 will multiply summation of this, 7 will multiply this. I'll have therefore that summation I is running from 1 to 7 of xi equals. Here becomes 7 here multiplied by x bar, which implies 7x bar. Then I'll come down to the second part of the question that says there are all equal the 3 observations, and then the mean of that 3 observation is what? Y bar. So I'm going to have that my y bar equals summation. I is running from 1 to what? Instead of writing n here, is going to be to 3. Because I've been told that the value of n here is what? 3. And instead of writing x here, I am going to write it in terms of y, because they say the mean is a y bar. So I have what? Yi all. Instead of writing what? N, I'm going to write what? 3. So in that case, I can equally say all over 1, and I will cross multiply. 1 multiply the whole of this, remains the whole of that. So it is now going to apply as summation I is running from 1 to 3 of y what? I equals. So I have 3 times y bar, which is 3y bar. So the sum of all the observations with respect to x bar, which are 7 observations, are given as summation I runs from 1 to 7 of xi is equal 7 bar. And of course, sum here means sum all the observations that occur in that particular sample. Then when you come down here, what we have for the sum of y bar here is summation I runs from 1 to what 3 of yi is equals what? 3y bar. And what this means is sum all the observations in the other sample, which is in terms of what? In y. And they are 3 in number. Are we there? For us to get the mean of the combined sample, we are going to sum all the observations in sample 1, which is talking in terms of what? X bar, or in terms of x, and sum all the observations in what? In sample 2, which is in terms of what? Y. And then divide it by the total number of what? X and y. And unfortunately, so we say therefore, the mean of combined sample, mean of the combined sample is sum of all the observations in x. And the sum of all the observations in x is here, summation I is running from 1 to 7 of xi plus. We are going to sum all the observations now in the second sample, which is in terms of what? Y. And it is summation I is running from 1 to 3 of yi, which means is given as this, which means I have summation I is running from 1 to 3 of yi all over. What is the total number of x? They are 7. So I have 7 plus. What is the total number of y? They are 3. So I have 3 here. Okay? So permit me to clean this stuff small. Permit me to clean this stuff small to be able to finish it. So I'll come over here. Then, of course, we know that what we have here is summation I runs from 1 to xi. And we have been told that summation I runs from 1 to 7xi is given as 7 bar. 7x bar. So in place of this summation I runs from 1 to 7 of xi, I can write 7x bar. So I'll say therefore, my mean equals, in place of this summation I runs from 1 to 7xi, I'll write 7x bar plus. Then in place of what? Summation I runs from 1 to 2 of yi, I've been given that this is given as a 3y bar. So I have what? 3y bar all over. What do I have here? 7 plus 3 is what? 10. Let us go down to the options and check whether we have a value for the combined mean as 7x bar plus 3x bar all over 10. Option A says this thing is in bar. Option A says 3y bar plus 7x bar all over 10. Option B says x bar plus y bar all over 10. Then option C says 7x bar minus 3y bar all over 4. And then this one says 7y bar plus 3x bar all over 10. So if you look at all these, you find out that no answer suits our 7x bar plus 3y bar all over 10. So the right answer there, which is of course is always option E, is none of the above. None of the above. The implication is that all the options they provided did not agree with the correct answer, because the correct answer is 7x bar plus 3y bar all over 10, as against what I have here, which is 7y bar, interchanging the variable, the quotient of x here going over to y. So this is actually a distracting answer. It can distract the students to easily go for this. Moreover, the correct answer is this. Thank you very much for being with us as we rally around these two questions to provide answers to them. And we plead with you to stay put as we continue regularly, from time to time, to bring mathematics and statistics at your doorstep in a very simplified approach. Have a trust in us and feel free to ask us questions. Dropping your questions in the comment sections. Equally, remember to follow us in our YouTube channels subscribe to our YouTube channels, and then share our videos that we'll be posting there so that our classes can reach greater number of persons. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.